Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a full-on SBS volleyball masterclass. We're going to break down the anatomy of a rally. It's like a strategic journey, right? We'll start with the raw basic mechanics of ball control and build all the way up to that high-speed advanced team chess match. So whether you are literally stepping onto the court for the very first time or you're a seasoned player looking to really dial in your game, understanding how these individual pieces lock together is absolutely crucial.
Okay, let's dive right into our syllabus for today. We're going to cover mastering the first contact, the art of setting, executing the perfect attack, outsmarting the defense, and finally, the physical foundation. This perfectly maps out the natural progression of a volleyball play.
You know, everything we're looking at today really boils down to this one fundamental sequence: pass to control the ball, set to position the attacker, and then attack into the opponent's court. This three-contact sequence, it's the absolute foundation of any organized offense. If literally just one of these steps breaks down, the whole shebang struggles.
So, Phase 1, mastering the first contact. Now, passing isn't just about frantically keeping the ball off the floor, right? It is all about control. A perfectly controlled first contact buys your team the crucial time it needs to organize the next play. And frankly, it makes your setter's job infinitely easier. So picture this. You're in a serve-receive drill. The ball is falling just slightly in front of you. Think critically for a second. What's the absolute most effective sequence of actions here? Do you wait and reach late, or do you just stay planted?
Well, here is the exact sequence you want to nail. You've got to move behind the ball early, establish your platform early, and use a nice balanced stance. Knees bent, weight kept slightly forward. From there, you just direct that pass right towards your target. Oh, and here's a quick pro tip from our source material. If you notice your platform is angled way too sharply downward and the ball just keeps hitting the net, the immediate fix is to raise that platform angle so you're redirecting the ball up and towards your target.
All right, moving on to Phase 2, the art of setting.
So, that beautiful controlled pass we just talked about seamlessly brings us to the setter, who is, let's face it, the brains of the operation. This is where vision, control, and snap decision-making are just totally paramount. And setters utilize two main methods. You've got bump setting and overhead setting. Now, a bump set is a lifesaver, especially when the ball is just way too low or too tough to contact cleanly overhead. But on the flip side, a controlled overhead set, that requires moving directly under the ball, forming a super stable hand position right above your forehead, and extending smoothly right through your legs and arms.
But hey, we all know volleyball is chaotic. Perfect passes are honestly pretty rare. So what happens if a crazy pass pulls you completely away from your normal setting location? What do you prioritize in that kind of emergency situation?
Here is the crucial takeaway. You have got to prioritize a playable, safe set, period. You move efficiently to the ball, square up your body as much as practically possible, and deliver a set you can actually control. When you're out of system like that, do not try to force some super fast combination that your team hasn't practiced. Just give your hitter a nice, high, controllable ball that gives them the time and space to organize their attack.
And to hit that level of consistency, setters really have to build specific, ingrained habits. You've got to move early to the ball, which sets you up to use a repeatable hand and body prep position. You also need to scan the court right before contact. Take a look, identify your hitters, spot the opponent's blockers, and finally, self-monitor. If your sets are constantly coming out too low, check your set height and your release point and just self-correct on the very next rep.
Which brings us to Phase 3, executing the perfect attack. Okay, once that perfect set is floating in the air, we enter the hammer phase. This is all about how hitters convert those great sets into actual points on the board. The anatomy of a spike is honestly incredibly precise. You've got to adjust your approach path, really plant that final step right before takeoff, because that's what converts all your horizontal running speed into pure upward lift, and then use a fast arm swing, making contact at the highest possible point. Oh, and make sure you accelerate right through the contact with a natural follow-through so you don't end up with a weak attack. Here's a hint. If a hitter is consistently contacting the ball behind their hitting shoulder, it means they're late to the ball and they've got to fix their approach timing.
There's this absolutely vital cause and effect rule in hitting. Your approach has to put your body in the perfect position to handle all sorts of different set trajectories. If a set is pushed farther outside than you're expected, you don't just reach backward or weirdly run under the net. No way. You actually adjust your approach path and your timing so that your takeoff and your contact stay perfectly aligned with the set.
All right, let's look at Phase 4, outsmarting the opposing defense.
So, we've got the mechanics down pat. But this is where volleyball really turns into a high-speed game of chess.
It's all about how a setter uses distribution to totally exploit defensive gaps. Look, a predictable offense forces the ball to just one reliable hitter on every single rally. And sure, that might feel safe, but it makes it ridiculously easy for blockers to adjust and organize against you. A dynamic offense, on the other hand, distributes the ball safely to 3 prepared hitters based entirely on what the defensive block is doing. And trust me, that is a real game changer against a well-organized team.
This tactical matrix right here, it's a setter's best friend. You have got to actively read the block. For instance, if the defense takes away the cross-court angle, boom, you set a hitter who can attack the open line. If their middle blocker is closing really quickly to the outside, you vary your set location and timing to the middle to throw them off. And if you notice the opposing middle blocker is just completely late and your pass is stable, hit them with the quick middle attack option to make them pay.
But here's the catch. To execute this matrix, you have to be sneaky. You have to be deceptive. If you turn your whole body early toward where you want to set, you basically broadcast the play and make your offense incredibly easy to read. To successfully mask your intentions, you've got to maintain a similar neutral preparation posture every single time and only vary the target late and accurately.
Finally, we arrive at Phase 5, the athlete's physical foundation.
Listen, you can possess literally all the technical and tactical knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the physical engine to execute these skills over and over again during a brutal match, it won't matter. Right at the core of a volleyball player's conditioning is aerobic exercise. We define this as sustained, continuous rhythmic movement that engages your large muscle groups and gets your heart beating faster. Think brisk running for several minutes. That's exactly what builds the vital cardiovascular endurance you rely on for this sport. And according to established youth physical activity guidelines for adolescent athletes, you really shouldn't just be exercising when there's a tournament coming up. You need to be doing regular, moderate to vigorous activity, building toward at least 60 minutes of it every single day, just to maintain that foundational engine.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We've seen today that every controlled pass creates time, and every repeatable set creates deception. So, how will you use your 60 minutes of daily conditioning to ensure your body can execute this masterclass, outlasting and outsmarting your next opponent on the court? Think about that the next time you step up to serve. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.